Hello and welcome to North Star Stamper. I'm Susan Kramer. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Woodbury, Minnesota. Thank you for joining me. I am looking for myself on my computer. Turn off captions. I don't need to see what they think I'm saying. All right, I think we're good. Thank you for joining me. Today we are talking about the insides of our cards. So here's a card I made recently with our brand new bundle called Simply Leaves. This is part of the July online exclusives, and it coordinates with this punch. And let me let my video catch up, make sure it's not too glary. This is a nice big leaf. I don't know how big it is. Let's measure it. It is 2 3/8 long by 1.5, so it's a nice big punch. And I like punches that are just one element that's punched, so I can do this. And I'm going to remake this card. You can't tell that I punched these leaves from my pecan pie layer, and then the back side is a piece of watercolor design that's behind there. So I think my next card, I'm going to do the same thing, put a piece of maybe DSP behind it instead, but emboss the brown layer and then pop it up on dimensional so you can see that these are not stamped and punched on top of it. They are actually like a window through there. So, but that's not what we're talking about today. Today we're talking about what to do with the inside of your card. So this is a thick white card base, which is fine. But when I add all these layers to the front, now the front is nice and sturdy and my back is flimsy. So I do like to add another layer on the inside of my thick basic white. So my first idea, this is a scrap from the watercolor wash piece. So I could do that, and that's probably what I'll end up doing with this card. Add a piece of designer series paper or coordinating cardstock or whatever you used on the front to tie that together. Of course, if you have a big enough scrap, you can put that on your envelope as well. So in Monday's video, Kathy, my teammate, was talking about how she likes to emboss the left side of her inside layer, and I did a little more than an inch. I went 1 3/8, and this is an old embossing folder called Planks, I believe. I don't know that we have a current wood grain, but I like the wood grain coordinating with the leaves on the front. So that, I don't know, can you see that? I think you can. So that adds a nice little touch on the inside, and again, I could emboss my envelope flap with that as well. That would be kind of fun. And then I got to thinking, well, what if you don't have the big machine that takes these big embossing folders? So I took that same size paper, white cardstock, and I cut 1 inch off. I think that's 1 inch. Yep, I cut 1 inch off, and now this will fit through the mini machine. I happened to put it on here. So what I did, I'll show you what I did here. So to emboss, I did this. I put this in here, and I put this on the end. This was straight. Oh my goodness. Okay. And then I ran that through my machine, and I embossed both of them at the same time. Of course, that's with the big machine. If you only have, let me grab a small, do I have a small one? Hold on. I don't know if I have a small one. I know I do over here. Hold on. Sorry. Distractions. All right. Here's a mini embossing folder. This will fit in the mini machine. So since this layer won't fit through your mini machine, cut 1 inch off your inside layer, and it could be the same color, or it could be a different color. It could be two-tone cardstock. It could be whatever. It could be designer series paper. And then this will fit in here, and run that through your mini machine. You would line it up better, but you get the idea. So this idea would work with the mini machine. And then on the inside, I would just adhere both of these. They don't need to know that it wasn't one piece. So that's how you can do that with a mini machine. Just cut off a layer. Of course, we can use pieces left over from the front. Again, I punched these shapes out of my pecan pie, and then I stamped on it and put it on a layer. I could do that. I could stamp. Of course, you know I love to stamp on the inside of my cards, and then I would coordinate this stamp with my envelope as well. I want to demonstrate how I did this real quick. So I have crisp cantaloupe and Tim Tiger. We're going to make orange leaves. I'm ready for fall, my favorite season. So how I did this one, we called it the rock and roll technique. So crisp cantaloupe is my light color, so ink, ink, ink. And then, whoop, keep that out. And then you just roll it around and you stamp. And you get the darker edge with that. This will dry later when afterwards. So the other thing you can do if you want a little more control of how much ink, I inked up with a light color. You could do different colors. I like using light and dark. Again, crisp cantaloupe and Tim Tiger, and I'm just going to add some Tim Tiger. I'm learning to use the edge of my dauber to get different colors. Oh, you can't see that very well. Let's do it on here. So I am cleaning my stamp between these. So let's do it here. You might see it, but on the crumb cake after it dries. You don't see it so much right now. You'll see it on the white. We need to, you know what? I really want you to see this. Let's use two different colors. Let's use that one's getting dusty, but that's right. You'll get the idea. Crisp cantaloupe and granny apple green. I'm going to use the edge of my dauber to get those veins up the middle. There you go. Oh, that looks like leaves I see outside my window come September. So, and then obviously I wouldn't put that whole thing, but I could punch those out and put one of them inside my card. But there's a fun ink technique for you if you haven't seen that. So those are ideas for the inside of your card. Thanks for joining me. Happy stamping. And I take suggestions or requests, or I'd like to bounce ideas off each other too. So thank you for the idea, Kathy, of putting an embossed section on the inside of your card.